Hello, this is Amber. I am a teaching artist with the Metau Arts, a nonprofit out of Twisp, Washington. Today we're going to do some art together and we are going to draw monsters, fuzzy, wuzzy monsters. We'll be focused on texture and do some shading. We might include some of the features in my hat. We'll see how creative we get. For this lesson, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper. For the second half of this lesson, we have the option to add color. So if you have a watercolor set, that would be awesome. If you choose to do watercolors at the end of this lesson, you might want to start out with watercolor paper. So, pencil, paper, maybe watercolor paper, and a set of watercolors. With the watercolors, you will want a brush and water. So, this is a great time to pause and go gather your materials, and then we'll get to drawing fuzzy monsters in just a moment. Okay, so I have my paper and I have a pencil. I do have my watercolors and some water to the side in case I'm going to use those. If you have that, just leave them to the side for now. We're going to go ahead and start drawing a fuzzy monster. And if at any time I'm going too fast, just go ahead and hit pause and then we'll catch up together. So you'll have your paper going horizontally and you'll have a pencil. The first thing we're going to do is draw lightly like a feather. And we're going to draw kind of a large pear shape. So I'm doing an upside down U up here. I'm leaving space at the top. And then down here, I'm going to do kind of a U shape. So it looks kind of like a pear. So I have a pear shape. This is going to be my body shape of my monster, my funny monster. Okay. So we have that. The next thing we're going to do is figure out where's our monster's eyes and nose and mouth. So right in the middle, in the top part, we're going to draw a line down and then kind of put an upside down triangle. So it looks like an arrow pointing down. All right, so you got a nose. That's going to be our nose. So as soon as you have a line and then an arrow, we're just going to kind of curve in the tops of this arrow. That's like the nostrils. All right. Okay, so then right here is going to be an eye, and right here is going to be an eye. And then we'll give him a little bit of a shape on the top of his eyes, or her eyes. All right, so this monster is going to be looking, let's have him look this way. So we'll do a little darker circle like that. All right. So we got this funny pear shape, eyes, nose, and here comes the giant silly mouth. So we're going to do a big smile line like that. And then we're going to make its mouth open. So this is the whole mouth. And in that mouth, remember on my hat, it had those crazy teeth? I think we should add some teeth. So this monster is going to have some triangle pointy teeth, bigger ones on this top side. So tooth and a tooth. And then I'm going to put smaller zigzag triangle teeth in between. However many you can fit. And then on the bottom, we're going to do 2 big teeth. And then we'll just put a little curve here. This is its tongue. So it's a big wide open mouth. It's got teeth, and then you'll see part of its tongue right there. Okay, so we have our face started. So we're going to sketch in some ears. Let's put our ears here. I'm going to draw kind of light. I'm going to give them these like funny pointy ears to the side. I'm putting them on the side of the head because we're going to leave room for horns. So I've got these funny shapes, and we'll put the same shape on the inside. So it's this shape with the same shape on the inside, and on the other side it's the same thing. Remember, if I'm going too fast, feel free to pause me. Okay, so where is its horns gonna live? Let's go up here, and we'll just do a little curve up and a curve down. So I've got one set of horns. If you're running out of room on top here, you can always make smaller horns. Or maybe you can curve them. You can even make antler horns. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I have 1, 2 horns. Or maybe you want a unicorn horn. You just do one giant one in the middle. That would be good too. So these horns are actually going to attach to its head. So we're going to put a little curved line at the bottom, and then we'll see where it's attached to its head. So we've got that. Okay, so what's this monster missing? How about it's missing some arms? Let's give it some crazy arms. So off to this side, I'm going to go out and then out. So that's a little parallel line right there. And this is where its elbow is going to be. So it's going to curve and just go down. So its arm is bent out and down. And monsters don't always have to have 5 fingers, right? Let's just give it 1, 2, 3 fingers. So I just went and curved a finger, 3 fingers. Got that? And they could point any direction you want. Now I've got something on this side. Let's do a monster arm on this side. So I'm going up like that. And then same thing, it's going to go down. And then I'm going to have it curve 3 fingers like that. And then this hand, I'm going to actually have it holding something. I'm going to do kind of a round shape. We're going to pretend it's grabbing onto something there. Alright, so we've got a face, arms, we need legs. Since our arms were short and they kind of came out at an angle, maybe we'll do that to the legs too. So we'll come out here, we'll give it a little knobby knee, and then come down, and we'll make it have just kind of monster feet like that. So again, it's out, and then I gave it a little curvy knee. We're going to go down, and then a little kind of oval foot shape. All right. So this doesn't look like a very fuzzy, scary monster yet, does it? Let's add a couple other things before we get to shading. I think this monster needs some claws, so we're going to add some little nail claws on the end of its fingernails here and here. So it's got claws. So little triangles on the end of each finger. And then on the toes, we can add some claws here too. So it's got clawed feet and clawed hands. All right. So now we have like the basics of our monster, and we want to add some shading. Figure out where's our hair on our monster, what's the light and what's the dark. So I'm going to pretend that my light is over here. So I'm just going to draw a little sun in the sky. And that lets me know that the light is hitting it on this side. This is where all the light is going. So this is my darker side. Okay, so right away, I'm going to turn my pencil on the flatter edge here, and I'm going to make some darker lines. I'm just picking up my pencil and I'm making some hash lines on this side of my monster. I'm going to make this side the darkest first. So I'm just doing lines on this side of my monster. And I kind of got bigger as it went around. So this side of the monster. What else is probably missing from here is we need to give him some eyebrows. Let's give him some bushy eyebrows. We'll just do some bushy eyebrows there. And then we can put some pencil lines under the eyebrow. Do some little lines under the eye. See this side of the nose? We're going to shade that side of the nose. The light's coming from here, so we're shading on this side. And we're going to kind of do the same thing on the ear here. This ear is going to be a little darker, so we're going to shade that. And as I'm doing this, I'm kind of making some fuzzy texture. Go under that horn. And then our horns, let's draw some segments. So we're just going to do little curvy lines up our horns. Some horns have little separated spots. So I just did a few lines in each horn. And then I'm going to use the flat part of my pencil and I'm going to shade just this side of the horns. So I'm just putting a little bit on the side. I didn't come all the way over. So I have some shading in those sides of the segments. And then if the light is hitting here, this part of my horn is going to be darker. So I'll add some darker in there. Alright, so we got some shading on our horns, our ears, and this kind of part of the body. This arm is the furthest away from the sun. So right where it attaches to the body, I'm going to make it the darkest. It's going to do some dark right there. And then on my fingers, do a little bit of shading on each finger. And then on the wrist, still all pretty shady. Not a lot of it's in the sun. So where the arm attaches, we'll be adding hair to this in a moment. We're just kind of getting our darks and lights put in first. Over here, this ear is pretty much all in the sun, but maybe right here, maybe right down here is not as bright. So add some shading there. And I would say if the light's hitting the elbow and the top of the arm, I bet the bottom part of this arm is darker. So we'll add some shading in here. Maybe at the bottom of these fingers. Starting to look a little more like a monster now. Let's come down to the legs. Over here, this is the darkest leg, furthest from the sun. Let's add some dark shading. I'm not being super precise. We're just trying to get some dark in here. Right where it attaches to the body, this leg has gotta be the darkest because it's in the shadow. All right. The other thing that's really, really dark is the inside of the mouth, right? So this is our tongue, this is our teeth. We will be maybe adding color to your monster, depending on if you're going to do that step. So we can also put paint in here, but let's just go ahead and shade it so we know that's dark. It's like the deep, dark hollow of its mouth. I'm leaving the teeth white and the tongue. All right. So the other darkest spot is the inside of the ears. We'll go ahead and color those dark. Those are the darkest. And now we get to add some more fun texture. And as we do that, it'll just help bring out the shadows even more. So this is a hairy monster. So we need to give it some hair. So up here by the ear, I'm just gonna give it some fuzzy ears. I'm just making little lines that come out from the ear. I'm softening up my line that I did. See how fuzzy and hairy that is now? Remember how fuzzy my hat was? So let's give the top of and all around this guy, we'll just give it some hair. So I'm just going all the way down. Maybe a really long hair. Maybe it's shorter. We're just going to go all the way around our monster here. Give it some fuzzy, fuzzy texture. And at the top, maybe its hair is sticking up out of its head. Who knows? What's your monster hair doing? The really hairy monsters I've seen lately are the trolls, right? Are trolls monsters? All right, so our whole body, we're getting it to be fuzzy wuzzy. And our ears. Let's do that a little bit on the arms. I think my monster has less hair on the arms. And maybe a little bit on the fingers. Your monster could have smooth arms and legs too. So I've got my one arm. Make this one a little fuzzy. Fuzzy arms. Fuzzy legs. It's kind of fun making it fuzzy. All right, so the horns are pretty smooth, so we're not going to do that, but all the body, we just want to fuzz it up. And then right under the mouth here, let's make some fuzzy lines like that. You can give it some more fuzz. We're adding our texture to our monster. It can be longer, shorter, depends on how big your body is. Maybe its upper lip's fuzzy. Maybe it has a monster mustache. So you just kind of want to add some fuzzy spots. Make it fuzzier than it looked when we had it just a pear shape. So if I'm going too fast, go ahead and pause it and finish getting it all fuzzy. The last two things I want to do before we add color is figure out what this is going to be. And I think we need to put this monster on the ground. Let's go ahead and put the monster on the ground. So the monster is going to have a shadow. If the sun's here, there's going to be a shadow under its feet. I'm using my pencil kind of on the side. I'm going to put a little shadow under its foot here. And then I'm going to put some shadow over here too. Just want it to be standing on something. So we're just going to add a little shadow by the feet. Because the sun's that way, so part of the body shadow's here and part of the leg shadow's there. And then what's in its hand? Before, when I've drawn this monster, we've made it like a basketball or a soccer ball, or maybe it's a crystal ball or a bowling ball. He's kind of holding it like a bowling ball, which should be kind of fun. Let's just go ahead and add little holes behind here. This is a crazy bowling ball monster. So I'm having his fingernails go into little dark holes. This is a monster bowling ball. The holes are in a different spot than a person bowling ball, all right? And to make it look more like a ball, we're going to take our pencil on the side. We're just going to kind of shade this side and curve it around. It's going to be the darkest over here. Kind of like a moon shape. Just kind of make a darker moon shape. We'll add some color to that too. So I've got a monster all excited because he's bowling. That's what my monster is doing. What's your monster doing? Okay, so at this point, if you're done doing the pencil drawing section, you can go ahead and stop the video. If you'd like to go and continue and add some color to your monster, we're going to do that in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to use my brush with just my clean water and add some water to the darker areas of my monster. So I'm just painting it with clear water on the darkest pencil shaded areas. So I'm just going around adding some dark. Now I think my monster is going to be maybe purple, but I'm going to shade it with some blue. So I'm going to use the blue and I'm going to add some blue in all of the darkest pencil lines. And since my monster is fluffy, I'm going to go ahead and keep that fluff. So anywhere that's the darkest, under the legs here, the feet, I'm just going to add blue. So all of our shading. I still can see our pencil lines under there, and I want to. It kind of has some neat texture. I'm going to leave the bowling ball for right now. Probably do that in a different color. Okay, so let's add some blue to these fuzzy lines. Side of the nose, above the eye there. So I'm adding blue just to those darker pencil lines. Then I'll rinse my brush off. So I have a clean brush. I'll do my horns. I want to do my horns in orange. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint those orange. I'm going to leave my pencil lines showing because it has a nice contrast. You can see the pencil line. You can see they're still shading. I'll rinse that brush off. Alright, the whole rest of the monster I think I'm going to make purple. You can make it whatever color you want. But I'm going to do it a lighter color than the color I chose to do the dark. And I'm doing a really light purple everywhere on my monster that's not shaded. So I'm going to fill in those fingers, arms, the rest of the ear. Trick with watercolors, as you've probably learned, is you need to add water to them to make them work, right? If it's not showing your pencil line through, you're probably going to want to have more water in your watercolors. Okay, so let's just add some color to our bowling ball. How about we have a green bowling ball? Can decide what color you want. I'll rinse my brush out again. You can do the inside of the mouth. Oh, let's do our shadow and maybe the inside of the mouth both with black. So if you pick black, I use black very sparingly because I don't want my teeth to get covered up. And I don't want to just blend it into the rest of my monster. So I'll just put a little bit of black there, maybe a little bit in the ears, and we'll do some down here in our shadow. And that's watercolor monster. Whatever colors you used, you can finish shading your monster. And you can see all your pencil lines through it. Thank you so much for painting and drawing monsters with me today. I hope you had a good time and you can use this as a skill building monster to do your own crazy monsters, especially for Halloween. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.